All right, bro. If you can just give me 5 to 10 minutes of your time, I will make sure fapping, watching porn, whatever your problem is a problem of the past. And look, if you're struggling with this, which I'm guessing you are because you're watching this video, I don't think you're weak. I don't think you're necessarily lazy. I just think you don't know how to drive this racetrack. Because, I'll explain it in a minute, but I think quitting porn and quitting fapping is a lot like what I'm about to tell you with this. Right, I remember a few years ago, 2 years ago in high school when I was doing this every day after school, you don't feel good about yourself, right? I had not really much respect for myself. My quality of life was down here. And I'm not saying this fixes everything, but you know, my life quality and my respect for myself, you know, even my energy, confidence a bit skyrocketed when I finally started to get on this, because I like to think this indirectly improves a lot of the things in your life, because it takes discipline, it takes mental strength. You know, you get a lot more time because you're not on your bed fapping every day. Yeah. Perception of woman, that's a big thing. If you can just give me 5-10 minutes, hopefully it won't be a problem for you anymore. Now on this racetrack, you are the driver, and the difference between day 1 and day 90 plus is what we just talked about, you know, better, more respect for yourself, more confidence, more energy. You know, it varies from people to what they actually say about their experience. But you are the driver of this track. But the first thing we need to drive this track and complete it is a reason. Because you're not gonna drive a track for 90 days for no reason, yeah? So you really need to think about what that reason is. Like, we just gone over a few reasons then, like confidence, more energy. But the deeper your reason is, the better you'll be able to achieve, you know, 30 days or 90 days. Because every time you get an urge for this stuff, the first thing that pops into your mind is the reason behind why you're doing all this, right? So if you don't have that, then you need it, because the rest of this video is not going to help you if you don't have that reason, yeah? The reason is like, it's like, think of the reason like your tires or your engine of the vehicle. Like, if you don't have your tires, if you don't have your engine, right, you definitely won't be able to drive this car along the track. So now, I'm assuming you have your reason, right? I'm assuming you have your vehicle. Now for day 1, right? The exciting part. You've just started this journey. Now, let's say you're on day 1 and you get to day 5, but somewhere between day 1 and day 5, you have went off the track. E.g., you relapse. If you go off the track, that does not mean you go all the way back to the start, right? That wouldn't make sense. All that means is you can take an alternative route like this, which may take a bit longer, yeah, okay, but you're not on day 0. Like, your progress is still there. Just because someone's going to the gym for 2 years, just because they miss 1 day, doesn't mean they lose all their muscle, yeah? So don't feel disheartened or broken that you've missed 1 day, like, that's fine, right? Because quitting porn and quitting fapping isn't really about the streak. It's more of like how much you have done that stuff in the last 3 months, in the last 6 months. So don't get too obsessed with the streak, okay? Right, because our goal as the driver isn't to be perfect, it's just to stay on the track. And you will notice on this track that it's not straight, right? We've got some curvature here, we've got some curvature there. And I want you to think of these turns as edges. So we've got an edge here, got an edge here, and one more edge here. Now, these are things like boredom, like when you're sitting on your bed on your phone and you're not really doing anything. And so what we're gonna do, if you're the driver of this track, the first thing you're gonna do is obviously observe the turn, right? Observe the future turn you're gonna do, e.g. observe that edge, right? Notice its existence, right? And just contemplate on it for a few seconds. And when you come up to this turn, right, you might go off the track, yeah? You might give in to the urge, right? And remember, we talked about this, that's fine. But what you need to do is you need to prepare for that turn next time round. So after, I don't know, let's say you get to 5, you get an urge, and then you relapse. You need to prepare for that urge coming again, and then you will probably overcome it, right? If you can prepare for it, like mentally, yeah? So you get past day 1, get past day 5, and the benefits you will see for day 1 to like a week is instantly, for me, this is just for me personally, more self-respect, yeah? And more self-respect just like indirectly improves a lot of things, yeah? So like confidence, right? That's the main one we want here. Slight increase in energy, not massive, but the confidence is much better, right? The self-respect. Because now that you've done day 5, day 7, bro, you could do it for 90 plus days, yeah? If you can do it for a week, you can do it for 4 weeks, yeah? Guarantee it. So now, if you're at that point, we have just proven to ourselves that we can drive this track, yeah? That is just one section of the difficulty. Okay, so now we're going to our second turn. Now, I'm gonna call this around day 15, it might be different for you, but for me personally, this is the hardest turn. This is the sharpest turn. So again, obviously, if you go off track, you do not go back to the start of the track. You simply just take a longer route. And then when that edge comes up again, this edge might be a bit harder because we're 15 days in now. You can observe it, but then next time, hopefully, you're mentally prepared for it. We've already done 7 days, doing 15 right easy. We've already proved to ourselves that we can do a 10, right? If we can do a hard 10, we can do an even harder 10. But it's probably about time now, since we're on our second 10, we start talking about a pit stop. Now I want you to think about this pit stop as sort of like your other good habits, like your sleep, going to the gym, right? Working, meditation, journaling. If these other good habits that you have in your life aren't there, then you might find no fat pardon, because going to the gym, eating a good diet, just leads to better mental health and better mental strength. So if you can have that, then you're gonna make sure your vehicle, right, is so much better after the pit stop. So you'll be able to finish the track. But if those good habits aren't there, I'm not saying it's impossible, but you're gonna find driving the track a lot harder. Right, I remember when I was really struggling with this, you know, I was skipping the gym, I was getting poor sleep, my diet wasn't good, and I was just thinking to myself, why am I struggling with this so much? Why is my mental strength so terrible? And then when I started to fix up my other good habits, this became easier, yeah? I actually had the mental strength and more discipline, right, to do this. So listen, maybe before driving this track, make sure you have a good pit stop. Because if you don't have that, then you're gonna be at a massive disadvantage. So make sure your sleep's in check, diet's good, all of that. Don't have to be perfect, yeah? Don't have to have a perfect pit stop. They just have to be solid. But listen, bro, if you're even on this track or you're thinking about starting this track, right, I'd say you're ahead of most men, right? Especially in my generation, yeah? Because like porn, all that stuff, you know, fapping's uncontrollable nowadays. So what? We're past day 15, we're getting to day 30, onwards to 90 plus. Right, this is where the best of the benefits come through, I think, right? Right, amazing self-respect, more confidence. Varies from person to person, but definitely more confidence. Now we're getting more energy as well, yeah? Right, again, this may vary, like you might get more energy on day 15, you might get more energy on day 30, yeah? But nevertheless, more energy, more confidence. Right, so now we're moving on to day 30 to day 90 plus. Now, if you've made it here, bro, you should be like extremely proud of yourself, right? Now, I'm extremely proud of you if you've made it this far, because, bro, you know, like porn is everywhere nowadays. When you are online, it's like everything is gonna stimulate an urge in your mind. So if you've gotten to here, well done, right? Because it's I wouldn't say it's easy. I remember when I was a kid, even like 9 years old, I remember being exposed to, sexually explicit content, all this bullshit at like 9 years old. And as time goes on, people even younger, right, are experiencing like this online, So I don't blame you if you are finding this very difficult, because you've probably been, doing all these bad habits for a long time. So it kind of makes sense that it will take, a long time to get off it. It might not, right? But it might take longer than you expect, right? It's going to be harder than you think, but you are stronger than you think. Promise you that. But now that you're on day 30, day 90 plus, you probably got under control all your urges, yeah? So now it's not about being perfect, yeah? It's just about staying on this track. So bro, hopefully you've got some value. Like, tell me if you've got some value out of this content I've made. Tell me what I can improve on in terms of explaining how to deal with this. But yeah, thanks for listening. I will see you in the next one. See ya.